Hello and welcome to the morning show teeing up with RevSportz. A very good morning to all of you, and what a day. 31st March, IPL starts. As a commerce student, I always had this date relevant to me for year ending, but today, 31st March, another relevant day. The IPL starts, and from today onwards, this next couple of months, we'll have so much to talk to about. And today we have Devashish Sen joining us. Can we please have Devashish? Good morning, good morning. And today only you are not wearing the Gujarat Titans jersey.
I'll wear during the pre-show from the studio.
Okay. And Hardik Pandya versus Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Hardik Pandya has a great opportunity to defend the title, cement his position as the T20 captain also, while might be Dhoni's last season in the IPL. How do you look into this match, and where do you see both the captains taking this match going forward?
Yeah, obviously, see, both the teams will be hampered with because they don't have their full teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, with the Sri Lankan players, the South African players, they are missing. There are a few injury concerns. So, but nevertheless, means Hardik and Dhoni, two biggest brands in Indian cricket. Obviously, Dhoni, someone who we all regard as one of the most successful captains. Hardik, in the making, as you said, that obviously, if he goes on to win the IPL for the second time, he might definitely be the future captain, which and actually he can still. Obviously, Rohit is still the captain. So a lot to look forward to. Obviously, it will be a full house first match of the IPL. 1 lakh crowd expected with a gala opening ceremony. So what you couldn't have asked for more.
Absolutely. And as you talk about the opening ceremony, this tournament is not just a tournament. This is a celebration. Today's also there will be a 1 hour long ceremony, and I'll come to another one after your thoughts on that, because we have a very good interview lined up today from Rahul Bose on Rugby India, and that's also linked with IPL and this sort of tournament. So, talk to me about this gala, that how much impact they have on the fans, and today's opening ceremony, and who are they coming, and what will be the situation in Ahmedabad?
Yeah, obviously, Rohan, this is almost after 5 years the IPL opening ceremony will be staged. Means last time an IPL opening ceremony was staged was in 2018, and because due to COVID pandemic which broke out, obviously there was no IPL opening ceremony. And also Pulwama attack also got something to do with BCCI not allowing the IPL opening ceremony. So, but then that it's a huge lineup. Obviously, it's attractive lineup with the stars like Rashmika Mandana, Tamanna Bhatia, Arijit Singh, Tiger Shroff. Also, I reckon Tiger Shroff, as well as Katrina Kaif. So and the two captains will be making a round, in a buggy. So lots more to watch out for in the IPL opening ceremony.
Absolutely. And as I was talking about the Rahul Bose interview yesterday, today we will be playing the interview. Rahul Bose, the president of the Rugby India Federation, and he told that he is looking forward to stream rugby in India. So rugby might be a very popular sport in England, Wales, American football in America, but in India he wants to broadcast the tournament, and he has learned this from IPLs and ISLs and Pro Kabaddi and these sort of franchise tournaments. So how important is this, that every bit of sport is we are getting in broadcasted in TVs and phones on OTT platforms? Talk to me about this one. Yesterday also we had a long chat on this. So your thoughts on that?
See,
Do we see
rugby is if you ask me, for Kolkatans, rugby is not new because we have a very popular team in Jungle Crows, which is run by my friend. He was a former Deputy High Commissioner, British High Commissioner Paul Walsh. He runs the rugby team called the Jungle Crows. And it's a very very popular team. So they play in the CCFC and also train in the Maidan. So rugby is not new because people related to sports here in Calcutta are accustomed to. And obviously, talking about rugby, it's a sports which has been played in a few cities. If I'm not wrong, it is played in Mumbai. It is somewhat popular in Bangalore. So there are few cities in India do play rugby, but obviously to make it a popular sports in a household sport, obviously you need to have a structured league or tournament, and it's a big step. What Rahul Bose, as you mentioned, is doing, it's a big step in that direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. And coming back to today's game, IPL, what do you expect from today's game? Who do you keep ahead in today's game? And talk to me about today's game.
It has to be Gujarat Titans because defending champions playing at home means,
Yeah,
yeah, obviously they will have that crowd support. So I feel Gujarat Titans will be the favorites for today's match.
absolutely. And Boriada is also here, but I think he has some technical issues. His screen is black, so uh, no, he's
He's in the studio.
yeah, he is in the studio. Boriada, we're talking about today's game also. I think there is some technical issues, and so you keep Gujarat Titans ahead. Uh, there is a new rule today in this session, the impact player rule, and I talked to. We have all talked about this impact player rule and how it might affect the game going forward, but haven't heard your opinions on that. So, talk to me about the impact player rule and how do you see it going forward in the tournament. And you say Gujarat, so who might be your impact player in today's game?
Yeah, obviously that's a very tricky question that you have asked here. Obviously, and if you want to name the playing 11, you have to pick actually keep two playing 11s ready. One batting fast, one bowling fast. So that will be something interesting. Obviously, as you know, as we all know now, that the captains will be having four players to pick from, one impact player to pick from. They will actually hand over the umpires a list of 15 instead of 11 after the toss. So that will be something interesting. Obviously, Chennai, if you ask me first up, Chennai, I don't think they would be using, and they would be in a two minds whether to use the impact player at least for the first game. But Gujarat Titans, they have a few options. Obviously, if they bat first, then they can have Sai Kishore as the impact player. Obviously, they can add Sai Kishore as the spinner towards the second half. So for me, uh, I'm also a bit confused with this impact player rule. I mean, obviously, the first game will actually give us a little bit of indication, and as the more and more as a few games go, then we'll get to know more clear. We'll have a clearer picture as to what exactly is the impact player rule. Means how is the captains using the impact player rule? Obviously, so but then if you ask me, obviously, this is something which we are all looking for in this IPL.
But do you think it is a good addition to the format of the game?
Yeah, it's exactly. This is not something new. If you ask me,
Yeah,
Rahul, because
but
ICC has
but it was a
already
failed experiment.
ICC has already used Super Sub, but it was not
Yeah,
successful.
yeah,
So, it will be very interesting. And remember, if this impact player rule is a success, then we might as well see it being tried in other T20 leagues. Obviously, SA20 did use it.
yeah.
Obviously, BCCI also implemented it during the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy. So, if this rule is a success, then we might see being followed in other leagues as well.
Absolutely. And Boriada is here. Welcome, Boriada. Good morning. We're talking about today's game, but I asked Devashish one question on. I would personally want to ask this question to you at Rahul Bose, wanting to uh, broadcast and stream rugby India, rugby tournaments going in India. So and he told that he has learned this from IPL, ISL, and Pro Kabaddis and all these tournaments doing so well in broadcast. Yesterday we had a discussion on this IPL's media rights. Talk to me about this. Do we see another franchise tournament coming up like that, and before, and then we'll come to the today's match.
See, anyone who's trying to promote a new sport is important, and rugby is one sport which is played in pockets. Even in Kolkata, if you see, St Xavier's College has a tradition of rugby. I mean, Devashish will know that, and Lamatnia School in the past have had a tradition. When we were growing up, even in our school, there was a tradition of rugby. So it's not a new sport per se in India. Having said that, Rahul has been a pioneer as far as rugby is concerned, and using his other avatar, the film avatar, Rahul can do a lot more, because obviously Rahul is accepted as a performer, right? He has a base. So when Rahul sort of talks about something, you have traction. And now with the Odisha government backing him, I mean, look, not in every sport will you become an All Blacks or you will go on to win a world tournament. But the fact is, you will become a better nation. You will become a healthier country. You will become better. So in every sense, if you play sport, I think it should be encouraged.
I
Absolutely.
just yeah, I was just telling Rohan, because in Calcutta we had a popular rugby team called Jungle Crows, which has been run by Paul Walsh, ex deputy high commissioner here in British High Commissioner, deputy high commissioner. So he is very passionate about rugby, making it popularized. And Jungle Crows participate in national. There is some sort of tournaments, if I am not wrong. There's a tournament in Bombay, because there are teams in South and Bombay. Actually, for rugby to develop as a sport, you need to spread it across the metropolitan cities to start with.
Anything. And what I liked about him, he wants to broadcast it from the very beginning. So that's the
And,
biggest
and
issue. And
Rahul Bose is a very popular figure when it comes to IPL matches. He has been a regular in Wankhede.
and
Whenever there is an IPL match, it was seldom we have seen him going and watching the matches.
and that's why I bring this topic into this IPL conversation, because he tells that he has learned from IPL and from these tournaments going. That's the biggest thing that we know. Devashi, I'll come to you and ask you this question, but Boryada, to you, who do you keep today ahead in today's match? Gujarat
See, it's
CSK.
very difficult. I mean, you were reading reports that MS Dhoni might not be ready or might not be 100%. And at the start of a tournament, it is very difficult to pick a team, because you don't know which side will start with momentum, who is ready, that kind of stuff. So, having said that, if MS Dhoni is not turning up, then that's a big blow. If MS Dhoni is turning up, then it's a different Chennai side, because we have seen that in the past. So if you ask me, even if it's MS Dhoni who's 70% fit, he should turn up. Because a 70% fit MS Dhoni, I mean, you don't expect MS Dhoni of 2011 to turn up. He's more a leader. You
Sure.
don't expect him to come and bat 4. He will bat 7. And in a 20-over cricket match with his fitness, even if he's 70%, he'll pull it through. So if MS Dhoni is there, it's a 50-50 game. If MS Dhoni is not there, then Gujarat will again have the upper hand, because in leadership they will try and push whoever the second in command is. So and in front of 100,000 or 70,
Yeah.
80, 90,000, whatever that is at the Narendra Modi Stadium, it'll be home support for the Gujarat fans. So I want an MS Dhoni to start, just like I want a Rohit Sharma to start for Mumbai. The fact that he missed that photo session yesterday, there are reports he wasn't well. So you would want your bigger brands, a Kohli to start, a Rohit to start, an MS to start, a David Warner to start. If they don't start, then the tournament doesn't start the best. And you're like, why didn't he start? Yesterday, a lot of talk was, why did Rohit miss that photo session? You want positive traction, not conjecture, not rumors, not injuries, not other things, because that's not you want when you are starting a tournament with home and away, so much fanfare, so much all of this. You want a perfect start.
Absolutely. And
I'll just ask Boria an interesting thing. If MS Dhoni misses out, can he be used as an impact player?
That's a great thought. Uh, can he create impact? Maybe not. Had it been the MS Dhoni of 2010-11, straight away comes in, starts hitting, straight away changes the course of a game. Can he do that now? No. If you don't play top flight cricket, you aren't God. If you have to have impact, MS has to be there for 40 overs, lead the team, control the game, do impact. But to get him for 2 overs and expect him to hit 4 sixes or 3 sixes and take the game, he's not
Might
God.
not be
No
the
one.
case.
No
Fair
one.
enough.
And he will take a few balls because he doesn't play first class cricket. He doesn't play international cricket. So he will need those extra deliveries to get in. And this is, I mean, look who will bowl at him. There's somebody who is an international bowler of repute, a Mohammad Shami, steaming in at 145 kilometers to someone who doesn't play first class cricket at all. You expect him to hit him in ball one? Won't happen.
Absolutely. And coming in as an impact player, I think it will be interesting because coming in as an impact player means you are not in the game, not playing, but you are mentally there. It's more of like football, coming in as super sub and creating an impact. So I don't think, because ICC had done that, but not successfully. Let's see what happens. But coming to that, Debashish, coming to you, Kane Williamson. Talk to me about Kane Williamson's addition to this to the Gujarat side, and how much impact will that create for the team?
Absolutely, it's a straight away. It's a great buy for Gujarat Titans because Vijay Shankar in that middle order last season we have seen he was not consistent enough, and actually Kane Williamson can anchor the innings, and then actually that Gujarat batting can revolve around Kane Williamson. If you ask me, means he can anchor the innings, he can take singles and straight away give the strike to a enforcer in the likes of Hardik. You have a Rahul Tewatia, you have a Rashid Khan. So I think it's a great buy, and you also have Matthew Wade for that matter. So Gujarat Titans with the inclusion of Kane Williamson, and remember, first few matches you don't have a David Miller. So Kane
Yeah,
Williamson straight away, it's a great option to have in the middle order.
Mureza, your thoughts on Kane Williamson?
Anchor. He's your sheet anchor around whom the whole innings will rotate. Then you have a Hardik Pandya to hit shots, you have a Shubman Gill, you have a Rahul Tewatia lower down the order, you will have all Abhinav Manohar, you have all of those fellows. I mean, Kane Williamson will be your pillar too. And then when David Miller comes back, these are the two fellows who will be the pivot of that batting lineup. So, and look, if Hardik has to go to anyone for suggestions, he knows his man. He will walk up to Kane Williamson, who has been there, done that for years for New Zealand. A leader in every sense of the term out there in the middle for you. Hardik will not have to wait for a second to go to anybody. He will rush to Kane Williamson for suggestions. So in every sense, and the most important thing about Kane is his composure. He will not be flustered, come what may. My point about Nitish Rana will be flustered. Anybody captains for MS Dhoni's absence will be flustered. With a Kane Williamson out there, won't be flustered. And that is the big point of having such leaders in the mix in teams. I mean, when David, for example, if Delhi went to an Akshar Patel in the presence of a David Warner, I would have been very surprised. You have a David Warner. They did the right call. They went to someone who has been there, done that at the IPL level, at international level for years. And he's a leader, David Warner. If it was Akshar Patel, think about it, never captained an IPL side, all of a sudden captain with David Warner there. I mean, two losses. Will Akshar Patel be able to hold that? Will Nitish Rana be able to hold that? If they can, tremendous. But there is a big question mark. So Kane Williamson's addition to the Gujarat team is also about what he brings other than simply his batting. And I think they've got a very, very smart buy there.
Yep. And Devanshish, coming to you, who are the young and not so famous Indian players that you are looking forward to in this match? The domestic players.
Obviously, someone like a Simarjit Singh from Chennai Super Kings, obviously he brings as a fast bowler. Then in obviously in the Gujarat Titans lineup, Goriadas has rightly said about Abhinav Manohar. He impressed in the last season. So someone
Yeah.
who I'm looking for, Shibam Mabi for another player. Obviously, he has played for India already. So someone who I would be keenly watching on how he performs in this match. So these are a few players, and obviously you have someone who I won't call a youngster, but obviously he's in obviously, who everyone is looking forward to, Shubman Gill. Will it be his season? Will it because Gujarat Titans to win it consecutive times, Shubman Gill needs to fire at the top, and which I think we will.
Buryada, any particular domestic player you are looking forward to?
See, every year you have new players coming and making a mark.
Yeah.
And that's what you want from a tournament like the IPL. You want newer players to come and shine. For example, for if you ask me tonight, I was actually looking forward to watching Mukesh Chaudhary continue his last year's form. I was a little disappointed yesterday. And you want a left armer. You want a left
Yeah.
armer to come and do that job. I was wanting to watch a Mohsin Khan, a Mukesh Chaudhary. I've been a little upset with these kind of injuries continuously happening. I'm keen on looking at this guy Suyash, whom Devashish has profiled for KKR, this whole mystery guy. So every year you want to look at such people because this is your platform. Think about 15 years back, IPL of that particular year, and you have a Swapnil Asnodkar, a 4 feet something, coming and taking the world by storm for the Rajasthan Royals. 2 years down the line, a Paul Valthati comes from nowhere and takes the world by storm for the Punjab Kings. And these names will forever be etched in IPL memory, right? And I'm remembering them today because it's the start of the season. Paul Valthati made a difference. Swapnil Asnodkar helped Rajasthan win that tournament. Who knew Yusuf Pathan at that point? Who knew Ravindra Jadeja at that point? These are domestic players who came through the IPL system and became international stars. So you would want such things to happen.
I remember Sarfaraz Khan playing some great shots for RCB while AB de Villiers was on the other side of the crease. So this kind
And
of
why?
story.
And we have our very own Shivaj Goswami scoring that first 100 in IPL. He was playing for RCB.
Manish Pandey. I mean, think of Manish
Manish
Pandey's
Pandey, yes,
100 in
Manish
South
Pandey.
Africa.
Absolutely. So it's a
Yeah,
perfect
and
for youngsters.
absolutely. And we keep on looking for the big names, but these 3-4 discoveries in every season is something that adds on to the value to the Indian team also. So Devashish will have the pre-match show also. We'll have lots to discuss on the IPL. But before that, I want to ask you who will be your fantasy captain for today's game?
You are asking me. I am not a fantasy
Yeah.
expert. Odiada is an expert.
No,
But
who
if
will
you
be
ask
your
me,
captain?
I would still go with Hardik Pandya because Hardik Pandya has more chances of getting success than MS Dhoni. So for me, if you ask me who will be the fantasy captain, I will straight away go with a Hardik Pandya.
The X Factor today, Hardik Pandya, will it be Buriada?
See, his call is absolutely right, but the way he made his call shows he doesn't play fantasy much. I mean, he was actually limiting his choice to Hardik and Dhoni. That is not the way you play fantasy. Okay, I was about to write this piece for our site today about fantasy. When you play fantasy, you are not a fan, you are an owner. First point. So Devashish is the owner of his team. So if you are an owner, what do you have to do? You have to be ruthless. Number one. If you are wanting to be ruthless, what is the index of being ruthless? That anyone who gives you maximum points will be in your team. Not anyone who is a big name. What does that mean? That means MS Dhoni batting at 7 may not be in your team. So Hardik is a fantastic choice, but his choice could also have been a Kane Williamson, a Shubman Gill, a Mohammad Shami, anybody. In my case, I would limit my choices to two. One is he's right, Hardik Pandya, and number two, Moeen Ali. Why Moeen Ali? Because Moeen will bat at 3 or 4 and he will bowl his 4 overs of off spin. It is a big ground. So the chances of Moeen Ali getting a wicket is more because the ground is big. You can get caught out trying to hit the ball, which might happen. And he might also bowl an over in the power play. So, and Moeen Ali is a decent fielder. So overall, you have to choose fantasy based on 1, 2, 3, 4 in the batting order, people who will play maximum balls. 2, if you are an all-rounder, obviously your chance is more. Number 3, if you are a finisher who bats 5 or 6, not 7, because you don't want a 10 ball 13, because the 10 ball for 20 will not give you maximum points. That's how you play your fantasy. So the first point, like I said, is you have to play like an owner. If you are an owner of a team, that's when you will be able to score maximum points, and keep your fandom aside. No emotions when you play fantasy.
Absolutely, and that's a great lesson. I'm waiting for your piece to come up before I make my fantasy team, and we'll have lots to discuss in the pre-show also.
I have
And
to go through the piece. I
yeah,
have to go through the piece.
absolutely,
Murada
and
tried to get me into fantasy 11, picking fantasy 11, but somehow or other, I don't get into this fantasy, picking fantasy teams.
yeah, it takes lots of analysis, lots of
Do
things
you
to
play?
consider.
Do you
Uh,
play fantasy games? I don't, for one.
Me,
Yeah?
yeah, I play football, not cricket so much
Oh,
because I play football. But in cricket, there are so many things other than that. Only the players. You have to think of the weather conditions, the pitch, the stadium. So that's, right, Bodhana, that's all.
now the added thing is impact player. Means while picking
Yeah,
the fantasy 11, means you have to also take into account who will be the
a-
impact player. I think
absolutely.
none of the fantasy platforms have this option of
No, no, no.
I haven't thought of. Now we can see the
Yeah,
changes.
absolutely.
Yeah, and when you say impact player, you also have to think in terms of who might be replaced. So suppose I make Moeen Ali my captain, and you replace Moeen Ali with someone else. Then what happens? My team is gone,
Ha.
because Moeen Ali has been replaced. And that is another critical call that will come into fantasy very soon. Very soon. If you introduce impact players. Suppose Kane Williamson is my captain, right? And all of a sudden, after the batting, I replace Kane Williamson in over number whichever, and get somebody else in. Now that means he's not there for the second half, so no catches, no nothing. Will that impact my fantasy performance? Can. So these are important points that fantasy sites also have to bring in, and people
Yeah,
who are playing fantasy, because now even fantasy has become boring, because it's the same predictable. You pick your 11, you play all rounders. I mean, someone like me who's played fantasy from day one, it's the usual format. But even in fantasy, you need innovation. You need people to try new things. You need to push people. You need to make people think out of the box. So that'll keep it going. That's what. And this whole argument that fantasy is a game of skill, only then will you continue to make it a game of skill, because you are
yeah,
making people think who's my. It's not gambling. If I have to replace someone, I'll have to think, I'll have to plan, I'll have to execute. I can just randomly replace somebody with and think, hello, this is a punt I'm going to take. That is the difference between a game of skill and being, something like which is not a game of skill, and something like gambling. Fantasy claims to be a game of skill, and you have to adapt to these innovations to be so.
absolutely. And uh, think of a match being playing at a certain X stadium. The weather conditions are like this. You have to keep those things also in mind. So a stadium with overcast situation, so the pitch might affect in this way. So you have to keep all those things in mind also. And I have not played cricket fantasy so much, but I have noticed something that the unknown players who players pick less, they give you the maximum. They might give you the maximum points because the big names, all of them are picking. But sudden a young player doing something big will give you a much advantage in fantasy, right, Boyal?
See, if you take Hardik as captain or Moeen as captain, 99.9% people will do that.
Uh,
Yeah.
So for you to be able to stand out, you won't. You will win 50 rupees. That is not why you are playing. You want to win big. So that's where your knowledge comes in. That can this, say a Shivam Dubey, can a Shivam Dubey be my captain today? And he will bat at 3 last year, or maybe 4, and will he bowl my 4 overs? And can he get a couple of wickets? And all of a sudden you will see your captain has given you enormous number of points, which will take you ahead of others. That is how you make your fantasy team and win. Because a
Absolutely.
Hardik as captain or a Moeen as captain, both of us selected, we were playing safe. Safe is fine. But you want to win your minor league, you want to win big, in a major, in a bigger league, take punts. In a minor league, play safe.
Absolutely, and I'm really excited for the piece to come up because I'm waiting for my fantasy team to set my fantasy team, and we'll discuss a lot on this match in the pre-show also. And other than this, the Spain Masters Open is also going on today. Kidambi Shrikant, PV Sindhu will be playing. Sindhu is winning again. That's a good sign for Indian badminton. So, Boyada, end the show with your thoughts on PV Sindhu going forward in this one because it's an
Yeah,
important one
and
for her.
yes, and Mia Blichfeld, somebody that Sindhu should be able to beat if she's in full form, and Kenta Nishimoto against Kidambi Shrikant, world number 15. Kenta Nishimoto, someone Shrikant lost a couple of months back. So these are important matches for India. The lower half of the draw has Carolina Marin. So if Sindhu goes up, there might be a Sindhu versus Marin clash. All of us will look forward to that. And as you said, you want a Sindhu to be back before the Sudirman Cup and the Olympic qualification cycle. So Sindhu is number 11 at this point. You would want her to be back. She has gone outside of the top 10 after some 7 years. So you
Yeah.
absolutely want Sindhu to be back ASAP.
Absolutely. And we'll bring you updates from all over. So thanks for joining, Devashish. Thanks for joining, Boryada. And we have lots in store. We have the uh, fantasy previews. We have Rahul Bose's interview coming up on Rugby India and his plans of broadcasting the league and eventually going into the Olympics in Los Angeles. So that's a great one lined up, and obviously the match preview live from studio. So keep following RevSportz, and thanks for joining. And we'll be back again tomorrow with the team of with RevSportz. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.